Good evening. All right. Week 8. How exciting. Number 1, I have not. I have not preached a funeral or a memorial sermon. The closest I ever got was writing my own eulogy for a homework assignment in like my AP English class in high school. Yeah, the only funerals, memorial services I've only been to 3. And only one of them was like a person that I was even remotely close to. The other 2 were distant relations. So yeah. Per my tradition or theological reflection, I think the primary purpose is, I think, equal parts comfort and allowing, I think, people to grieve. I think it's something that I've kind of been circling on in other like conversations or like in the pastoral interviews. Just the idea that in America, we don't like to grieve. We like to just keep moving forward and looking to that next thing, or distractions, or seeing a funeral as purely a celebration of the life of the person, where that can have its place. I don't think that should be the main thing. I think God made us with a full range of emotions, and grief and mourning and sadness are all part of being human. So a funeral is the perfect place to exercise those emotions instead of pushing them down. So I think the sermon should reflect that, helping to give space for sadness and for grief, and to not skate over those emotions, while still, in the context of the gospel, providing some form of hope. Um, in Christ, we are all raised to new life. As believers, we believe we'll see these people again. But yeah, again, I think the emphasis should really be on creating space for people to grieve and being okay with some of the more difficult and negative emotions. So yeah, the essentials of a gospel-centered funeral or memorial sermon, I kind of, yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same as the purpose, knowing that there is pain in the world, but God is all things good. And I think some of that good is working through difficult times. I think of Genesis, and even before the fall of humanity, we were called to work, and it's not all just easy things that we face in this world. Yeah, I think the gospel aspects are that God sits with us in the difficult things, and the redemption of humanity doesn't skate over our difficulties. God doesn't look down on us and ask why we feel the way that we feel. Instead, God comes down and, I think, puts, we get an arm around our shoulders, and God is there to comfort us, and to not dismiss what we're feeling at any given moment. Number 4, again, I've only been to 3. Only one was semi-recent. So I don't really have a lot of examples of negative or out of place things, at least not from the pulpit. I think I heard other people in the first one I was at, I was very young, so I didn't necessarily understand all of what was going on. It was like a distant family member, so I didn't feel bad. I was wondering why other people were feeling sad. And the two more recent ones within the last 5 years or so, um, yeah, I can't think of anything from the pulpit or in the sermon that caught me off guard or made me feel uncomfortable or made me want to like fight with what the preacher was saying. Um, Certainly, um, things from the people in the pews, hearing people trying to make it about themselves, or almost trying to out outshine the grief of the people closest to the deceased. Um, yeah, there was like a couple people that almost felt like they were competing to be the saddest, when they weren't necessarily someone who should have been feeling as sad as, say, the wife of the man that died or his children. Yeah, it was a weird space, to try and out sad them. Um, yeah, I think those are the only, contrary things, I think, trying to make our sadness worse than someone else's, but not anything from the pulpit. Um, from what I can remember, they were, again, both comforting and giving hope for the ultimate reality that God will sit with us in our pain, and ultimately God will, um, take away all the pain of the earth. But until then, we have someone who is willing to be with us and comfort us. And yeah, so